Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast slash Baltimore Colt Show. I am one of the hosts of the show. I am Adam. Um, don't have my other compadres with me because I am going to be specifically talking about the Browns, doing a little recap of the game this past Sunday, also kind of giving a preview to what the 2021 season will be. Um, If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the Facebook. Please subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, um, on Twitter. Um, my other compadres, as you all probably know already, is Casey, Justin, and DJ. Um, DJ this past week after the game on Monday did a little preview of the Ravens season and recap the game from this past Monday night. And each week we always do a preview of the upcoming week's games and kind of give our thoughts and analysis on our team specifically and other teams, of course, and kind of going around the league. But anyway, let's hop into it. The game against the Chiefs. Browns fall 33-29 in what was an incredible game. It was absolutely everything that I think that everybody anticipated this game was going to be. It was so much fun. Um, Not the result I personally did not want, because I am as you all know, a major Browns fan. Um, but you couldn't ask for anything better. At least that first half. They took it right to them. They were aggressive. They were proficient. They were efficient. They were they you could see the upgrade in the talent as opposed to 9 months ago in the playoff game, which they still could have won, albeit without Patrick Mahomes for most of that game. But that's besides the point. Um, I thought Baker played very, very well. Uh, Other than the interception at the end of the game, which I mean, Romo said it on the telecast, and Baker said it afterwards. He was trying to throw that ball out of bounds. He wasn't trying to force that ball to Harrison Bryant, but Dan Sorensen, and it pains me that it had to be him because he's the one that to me had the questionable non-call when he launched himself and hit Hollywood Higgins in the head at that play at the goal line when he fumbled the ball, then went into the end zone, and clearly it should have been called helmet to helmet, at least in my estimation. But it was a good play. Got Baker off his spot. Just got enough of him to let that ball hang a little bit higher, a little bit longer, and the Chiefs picked it off to seal the win. So um, the running game was excellent. Uh, Chubb had a inexplicable fumble. Granted, it was on a fluky play, but like I was saying it right on the telecast, like, dude, look, everybody's going to fumble the ball, and I think that's only like his third one ever. Like, I'm sure someone will correct me on that, but he does not fumble the ball a lot. He protects the rock pretty well. But other than that, him and Kareem, I thought it was a great balance. They're exactly why they're a great 1-2 punch. Um, I thought this might have been David Njoku's best game as a professional. I mean, he's had moments, but I think this was one of the more complete games he ever had. I was excited and very impressed with Anthony Schwartz, the rookie, who got a bulk of the plays because Odell did not play, which he will not play this Sunday as well. We'll get to that. um, Defense, I think I think you have to be impressed with the upgrades. I know it doesn't look like that much in the box score, but I think if you really pay attention and you watch the Browns games like I do, it may not pop up in the stats. It doesn't jump at you off the screen, but they were in the backfield all day. Tack McKinley, Miles, Malik, Malcolm McDowell, I thought was excellent. Clowney, him and Garrett both had that major sack on that third down uh, late in the fourth quarter that gave the Browns a chance. But what they did is what a lot of teams have not been able to do, which is slow down the Chiefs. I mean, you have to remember this was 22-10 at halftime. And they, yes, they did keep going to Kelsey. Yes, they keep going to Tyreek Hill and all that. But I think what you have to be impressed with was that they actually had to make them matriculate down the field, because everybody thinks of the Chiefs as this high power offense, and they are because of Mahomes. But I thought they had a very good game plan. Unfortunately, this week the Browns are going to be out with Anthony Walker, which it's not a direct impact from this game, but I think it did have some type of lingering effect, as I know that he got banged up a little bit earlier in the game. And then earlier this week, he tweaked his hamstring. Hopefully, it's not too serious. They did have to put him on the short-term IR, so he has to be out for at least 3 weeks. But hopefully, he comes back, at full strength and better than ever. But anyway, I thought the defense played pretty good. Greg Newsome is everything as advertised. JOK Jeremiah Wusu Koromoa flashed in some areas. He was a definite standout on special teams. You could see him. He was one of the first. He's always usually the first one to the returner. So yeah, like lightning quickness. The, they made the Chiefs go to, I believe it was 13 third downs, which that means you were making them work for it. Problem is they converted 9 of those, which that's one thing you do have to clean up, which you should be able to do this week. And like I said, we'll get to that. We'll get to that soon. Um, Overall, again, it was a fun game. Obviously, I wish it was a different result. I mean, Jamie Gillen, all you got to do is just hang on to that snap, and the other thing too is you had enough time when you recovered. All you needed to do was just pooch kick it. It didn't matter, how far it went. Just kick it and kick it towards the out of bounds. Just to at least make them not have the short field, because that was to me the difference maker. Um, so yeah, just is hey, it happens. Be a mental mistake. But either way, the Browns proved that they can hang with the Chiefs. And if anybody has seen the clip out there of Baker and Patrick Mahomes after the game saying like, "Hey man, we'll see you guys later on this year." So the Mahomes and the Chiefs knows that the Browns are for real. Obviously, and I'm not trying to go for moral victories or anything like that. Hey, you're 0-1. It is what it is. But I do think the Browns are fine, and they're going to stack up a lot of wins this season. Um, this upcoming week, they host the Texans in Cleveland at First Energy Stadium. First time in 2 years that the stadium will be at full capacity, and I cannot wait to see and listen to that crowd, like how loud they're going to be, because they have been waiting for this. They were robbed last year, for obvious reasons, of course. Granted, the 6 to 12,000 people that were allowed to be in the stadium, they were very, very vocal and very loud, and definitely gave the Browns that, for what it's worth, the home field advantage. I mean, say what you will about the Cleveland fans, they are diehard to the core. But this week you should be able to bounce back. You are the better team. This is one of those, and this is no disrespect to the Texans or anything like that, but like this is one of those like college environments where the Browns are the better team and they need to act accordingly. Just you don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to do anything cute. Do anything cute. The Texans are who the Texans are. They got it was an impressive win last week for a lot of those guys. There's like 8 guys on that team that used to be on the Browns, which I like a lot of those guys. Pharaoh Brown, Money Mitch, Kirksey, Eric Murray, Duke Johnson was there before, and on and on and on. So A lot of guys I got a lot of respect for on that team. But again, you put the Browns roster to their roster, there's no comparison. The Browns are the more talented team, and they need to they just need to execute, not do anything crazy, not do anything fancy. Run the ball, take your shots when it's there, and the defense should be able to get home and wreak havoc on Tyrod Taylor, who again love him to death. He was nothing but a professional, nothing but a great teammate when he was here a few years ago, and that poor bastard just cannot catch a break. I mean, what happened in Cleveland happened. He got concussed. Baker came in, and we haven't looked back since. Last year, he actually gets a W against the Bengals, and then has a whoopsie with the medical staff before a game, and now there's Justin Herbert. So, but hopefully, Tyrod can shine, can get what he can out of this team. Because again, I don't think I'm not saying they're only going to win one or two games, but I don't think they're going to be in any type of, they're not going to be in a playoff race or anything like that because they have a transition going on with all that's surrounding Deshaun Watson and things of that nature. So it's kind of contrary to their bigger picture because there's no sense of trying to win all of these games. I mean, you get the W's where and when you can, but they have to because they're going to get the king's ransom for Deshaun once all of his legal stuff gets cleared away. And I won't dive into that because it's irrelevant at this point. But I'm not saying that the Texans are just going to be pushovers, but I just think like in an objective sense, Browns being the better team, two great running backs, great receivers, stout defense, like they should be able to handle their business. So just one of those, again, play your game, execute, you know, give fits to Tyrod and the offense. They don't have a lot of big playmakers. I mean, yes, they do have Ingram, they do have uh, Woods, and and guys like that. But there's no real dominant star on that team. There's no J.J. Watt anymore. There's no more Honey Badger. There's none of those guys. So it's just one of those. You go in there, take your business, run the ball once you get a substantial lead, and then let's get out of here. Um, so like I said, it's just one of those things. Just act accordingly. But I'm definitely excited. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing with the Odell situation. They thought that he possibly could have gone this past Sunday. He was going to be on a pitch count anyway. Like they would put him in some packages here and there, but in warmups it looked like he was going to be able to wouldn't be able to go. Hey, that's fine. I would rather have him. I would rather have him for late October, in November, December, and into the playoffs. Which I mean, by all accounts, for what we think this team should be, that's when you need him the most. Yes, I want him on the field, but I don't want to rush him out there just for just because. I mean, you're deep and you have some depth at a lot of these positions. Just make sure that you just get him 100%. If he's not ready to go, don't put him out there. And I, for one, am not part of this narrative that they are better without Odell. Yes, the second half of the year is what the second half of the year was last year, and that's great. But you mean to tell me that they could have used him in that Monday night game against Baltimore? You mean to tell me they could have used him even in the last game of the year against Pittsburgh? That maybe it wouldn't have gotten so close, and definitely that game against the Chiefs, where that last drive that kind of put a lot of put the brakes on that last drive because they were very stagnant. They tried to do a lot of check downs. There was no explosive plays to be had for whatever reason. So it's just get him back, get him prepared, and then let's make a run. But overall, I am very very excited about this year. And I'm not going to make any big hot take or big bold predictions or anything like that, other than I do believe this team is good enough to make a deep playoff run. Um, this to me is the maybe more than likely the second, but like the second or third best division in football. Uh, the the AFC West, both divisions, whether it be the AFC West and the NFC West, are pretty good, pretty good. Even though in the West, I still do not have a lot of faith in the Raiders. I mean, they got the win against the Ravens. Awesome. Hey, Ravens are sitting nice and cozy next to us at 0-1. So hey, it is what it is. But they got the Steelers this week, and as much as I would love to see the Raiders win that, I don't foresee that happening because there's a little bit of issues with the Ravens defense. Granted, they're still good, but their Marcus Peters is out for the year, and they've got problems on both sides of the ball. But just from injury, I don't. It's not scheme or anything like that. It's almost like what happened with San Francisco last year. They had all this praise and this potential, and they just could not shake the injury bug. With Bosa going out and having all these guys dropping like flies, and kind of became like, hey, we're just going to take a flyer on this year. I don't think it was necessarily indicative of their play. It was just, when you're missing a lot of your stars, it's kind of hard to compete. But I do, I have the Browns, even with the extra game. Like I would say, they will be right at where they were last year, maybe one or two more games. So I mean, I would say they're in that 11, 12, and if things go right, 13-win season. Realistically, I would say it's more in the 11 or 12, but this is where one of those times is they're going to have to squeak in those games that they're probably not projected to win. Um, they're going to be favored in a lot of games. I mean, this week against the Texans, they're a 12.5 point favorite. So there's a lot of, especially out in the desert with Vegas, there's a lot of faith in what this team can and should do. Um, there's certain things about these Steelers that I still don't have a lot of faith in. I mean, their defense is still excellent, but I just saw what Big Ben did. Big Ben did this past Sunday. Granted, first week, first time in months that we've seen him throw a ball. So and the Bills are a tough team, but we'll see if that continues. Um, I really think, kind of having a little bit of foresight. I think it's really going to come down to the Browns and the Ravens. Like I would love to put a definitive stamp of approval that they will win this division. They definitely can, but like to me, before we make all these projections of what they should be, and this, that, and the other, to me, it's like, how about let's win our division first, and have it to the point where you're going to have home field advantage, and then if you make a hell of a run, having that first round bye. I mean, just like, yeah, I'm not gonna make the leap that a lot of people are saying, and I'm not even gonna say the words because I don't want to jinx it. But this team is set up to A, make the playoffs, B, make a deep playoff run. Now, knock on wood, hopefully everybody can stay as healthy as possible. Now Baker has the same personnel with coaching. A few extra pieces here and there, but they essentially ran it back. And I think the Browns definitely, for sure, have the best offensive line in football, and that's not even being a homer. I would say it's a pretty general and wide consensus from people around the league and across the nation. But I know some people may say otherwise, but hey, that is what it is. But to me, you ran a poll who has the best offensive line. I would say the percentages would be in Cleveland's favor, and it was definitely on display on Sunday. I mean, if you look at all those drives, I mean, Baker had all the time in the world to throw, and because I mean, with Teller, Batonio, Wills, Treader, uh, Conklin. I mean, these guys are hosses. I mean, you got a couple all pros on that line. So definitely looking forward to the season. So yeah, you got to get through this week, and it's not like oh, oh, I hope we win this week. Like I'm fully confident that they take care of business this week. Plus, then next week you have the Bears coming into town. A little bit tougher opponent, but that's another one where I think that you should be able to handle your business on the defensive line because Chicago's offensive line is not that good. And I don't think the defense is as stout as it used to be. I mean, yes, they still have Khalil Mack. They still got some nice pieces on there, but I think it's another one where, side by side, you were the more talented team. Um, and plus, again, you're still on your home turf, and it would be nice to come after next week. You're 2-1. Now you're starting to feel pretty good. Then you make the trip to Minnesota, which is where Stefanski used to coach at. And that's another one where, like, I don't know. I don't think the Vikings are going to be very good. I mean, they went down to the wire with the Bengals last week, which was a pretty entertaining game. But there's a lot of things missing on that team to put them over the top. I mean, they were one of the more disappointing teams last year, and I just again they're very odd. I don't know what to make of them. Uh, like Kirk Cousins, is not a bad quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think he ever I don't think his play and his talent warranted the contract he got. He got the contract. So God bless you. Make get get the money if you have the opportunity to. But I think that just kind of put a damper on not the Mahomes money or guys like that, but the kind of the kind of the in the middle of the pack type thing where you're good, but you're not an elite level, just yet. So I think Cousins is good. I don't think he's elite, but again, that's just my personal opinion. Um, but that could be a big motivator for Stefanski. So hopefully you can get a win on the road, and that's in a dome. So again, like they definitely got to make you got to defend your turf. That's the major thing. You got to defend your home turf. But the games on the road, especially now with that extra game, you've got to make a stand at those places, and you got to, as I said before, there's games that you're going to be projected not to win, and you got to squeak it out with some of those. In the division, I mean, obviously every year I want them to win each time they play those teams twice. Like if I would say it's more likely for them to, and this is nothing against Cincy. I think it's another thing where they're more than likely to sweep the Bengals again, more than having a sweep of either of the other teams. So I would say that they would sweep the Bengals and then at least split with the other teams. I mean, again, I would love to see them sweep either one of them. But at the same time, if you want to move forward and make that bigger jump, you're gonna have to win at Pittsburgh. You're gonna have to win at Baltimore. They prove they can. It's happened within the last couple of years. But more times than none, especially the Steelers and the Ravens, they've put a hurting on the Browns when they've been at their house, and then it becomes a dogfight when it comes to First Energy Stadium. But you really want to make a stand. You really want to make a big leap, and the the viewpoint and the consensus on you is that you're going to have to one of these years you're going to have to sweep the Ravens and you're going to have to sweep the Steelers, or one or the other. But definitely, you definitely got to at least try to get a split amongst there. And I'm really looking forward to that Browns and Chargers game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be at the new stadium in LA. For anybody that watched it on Sunday Night Football last week, that place was God, was it loud? But it looks like it's a pretty cool stadium. And the Chargers are kind of one of those dark horse teams, and like that's definitely one that I circled on the calendar of like this is going to be a fun game. Herbert has proved me wrong. I didn't know really what to make of him, but he's definitely going to be good. And then as the season goes along, and I'll kind of do this sporadically, sprinkled out throughout the year because obviously we have the picks each week, so I don't want to repeat myself a lot of doing during the picks, have that analysis, and then the game give the same thing in a solo video. So I kind of want to space these type of videos out. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know, like I know DJ just did a video, like I said, this past week. If after the game this Sunday with the Browns, like I may like do a quick one. We shall see. But yeah, other than that, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a lot of fun, and it's one where hopefully, hopefully as the season goes on, I could try to get one of these games. It just see how finances and where we are in the pandemic, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I'm going to be looking forward to each week. I'm so excited that football's back, and we got predominantly most stadiums that are packed to the Raptors, and yeah, like even this past week was fire. The first weekend was incredible. Even the game last night actually ended up being a lot better than I thought it would be. I would like to point out that me and Casey were sweating that game out so badly because Justin, Casey, and myself all picked the football team, and DJ, bless his little heart, has an affinity for Daniel Jones. I don't know why, but it's a little fodder that we have on the show. Again, I don't hate Daniel Jones. It's just there's certain things about him that he gets. I think he gets a little bit more credit than he deserves. But again, that's just not hating. That's just my viewpoint. But nonetheless. But thank you, Giants, for the late offsides, and thank you to the kicker who missed it and then got uh, a redo on it and put it through the uprights. So, but anyway, but yeah, that's going to do it for me. And I hope you all enjoyed this. This I actually was a lot of fun doing it on my own. Obviously, I'd rather have the boys around just because we have fun and laugh and joke and when we go through our picks and whatnot. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. But again, once again, follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, the Facebook page, TikTok, all those. Um, until next time, until this upcoming week when we do next week's picks. I'm Adam, and I will see you guys later.